Hi guys, Mike here from Jaa Moto, everything Honda CRF300L. Today's task is to change the handlebars and lever protectors and also pop on some new hand grips. So I'll go through the parts list that I've got and also the tools required. Okay, so I've got the bike up on its jack, so it's level and stable and should be safe to work with. So if we just go in, the area we're dealing with today is change the handlebars, the hand protectors and the grips. So I think the first stage will be to remove the stock hand guards here and here. There's a few areas, so to gain access to the bolt here, we need to move these cables. So it's a case of just slackening this off and lifting the cables out of the way. I do believe as well that the brake coupling here, when you fit the new hand guards, that's in the way, so you need to drop that. So we need to be careful in this area because we don't want to be losing brake pressure. So that's something to be aware of. This side we'll have to remove the mirror to take this bracket off and then put back together. I've also got a quad lock to remove and replace on the new bars. So yeah, I think we're about ready to go. I'm going to take some photographs. There's things like these little cable tie downs that we need to remove and replace, but it makes sense to take some photographs, so when you put everything back together you're putting everything in the same place as before. So yeah, let's crack on with it. So this is just the run through of the tools I'll be using today. So firstly, I need an 8mm socket. That's for removing the lever brackets. Then I've got a socket set, so we're probably going to be using a 12mm socket for removing the handlebar clamps. Then we've got a range of spanners. We've got 14mm, which is for removing the mirror. 12mm, that's for the brake hose, and we may use it as well on the handlebar brackets. And then the 10mm is for removing the levers to take off the original hand guards. Then I've got a knife which I may need to use for cutting off the old grips. A Phillips screwdriver for taking off the controls, so the indicators and the other side. So these we need to use screwdriver to get access, and also here. And then lastly, a bit of glue just for securing the hand grips, make sure they're not slipping. Just a quick run through of the parts I'll be fitting today. So we've got the Pro Taper aluminium bars. I did actually order Renthal, but they sent Pro Taper. If I'm honest, I think they're copies, but they were very cheap and they seem stronger than the original. Yeah, then we've got the replacement hand guards, which will protect the levers if the bike's dropped. A set of handlebar grips, and then all the mounting brackets and spacers. So hopefully this all goes together to plan. Okay, so firstly I'm just going to loosen off the throttle cable lock nuts, just so I can push them up out of the way to gain access, and then I'll just nip them up again so they don't drop down and get in the way. So, okay, then we want 10mm spanner to remove the bolt, or the nut, sorry, on the bottom of the brake lever. Pop that in my pocket, and next take the bolt out at the top. A little more difficult to get at, maybe socket would be easier. Yeah. Almost there. Okay, so that's that bolt, and that's off with the first handguard. I'll set that to one side. So I do believe we can actually put this back in now. This is a new bike, so there's still a touch of grease on that, so I'm not going to grease it up. If you're replacing on an older bike and they feel a bit dry, then yeah, it probably makes sense to put some more grease just to help. Okay, just whiz that in. Interesting. If I'm honest, I will replace that bolt because it's designed for the handguards, and it's now too long. Because if you take a look at here, obviously we've lost that and that, so we're talking at maybe 10mm. So I'll try and source a shorter bolt to go in there, but that's secure now, and it will do the job for now. Okay, so now we want to just drop these back down to where they sit normally. Okay, they kind of find the ideal place. Just nip them back up. So that's the throttle cable sorted. Okay, so that's one side done. I think at this point I will remove the throttle. I'm hoping we've got enough leeway for this to slide off. So it's a case of undo 2 Phillips screws. Now let's see if we have the leeway. Could be a little difficult. So I'm going to take these cable clips off. That should assist us. And hopefully this will slide. Okay, so that won't slide off, so we're going to have to split this, which isn't a major issue. This is my first attempt, so obviously I'm finding my way through. Almost there. Okay, not quite. Okay, so those two screws out, pop them down here on the mat. So okay, so that's still difficult to actually remove from the bars. I think rather than disconnect the cables, I'm going to loosen off the handlebar mounting brackets so I can slide the bars across. So we'll leave that part for now and then drop the brake lever. So we need 8mm socket. So again, I'm going to have to take the bracket completely off because I can't slide over the end of the bars. One bolt out. Okay, so that's the second bolt out. And I'll pop that in my pocket. Okay, so that's one side. Now let's take a look at what we need to remove on the other side. Okay, so just being careful here not to cut in too deep. So I'm going to slice into the grip and come along. Just nice and gentle. I don't want to cut into the plastic too much. Seems to be getting there. There we go. Excellent. Okay, so grip off. Okay, something I've realised that we need to chop the end of the throttle body off here to enable us to get the bolt through into the new bars. So I'm literally going to cut off the very end. It's probably maybe 3 or 4 millimeters. So it's only plastic. Nice and easy. Let the saw do the work. Okay, so that's clear now, and I'll just clean this up with a bit of sandpaper. Okay, so the next step is to loosen off the handlebar clamps. Just do them crossways. Nip. There we go. Okay, so they should. I think I'm going to have to take them completely off to move the bars enough to get the switch gear off. like I say, this is the first time I've changed the bars on a CRF300L. To be honest, the bars that I bought I'm not 100% happy with, so it may be that I'll replace them in the future, and at that point I may do a new video, as it's been a learning curve as knowing what order to do this job in. So the second make of this video could be a lot easier, but it's giving you an idea anyway. Okay, pop the tools out the way. So I just want to be a little cautious here, because I don't want to drop the bars and damage anything. Seems quite... there we go. Okay, so off with the bar clamps. Now hopefully this will give me enough leeway. Yeah, so I can slide the throttle off that side, and now slide out the switch gear. Okay, so that's the first part done. But just, I want to share with you here, on the stock bars, you'll see there's holes drilled on either side, and this is for locating the switch gear. Now I've seen people who, rather than drill holes into the new bars, they just take the tabs off the switch gear. I don't think that's a good idea, so I'm going to drill out the new bars that are going on, so that'll be in the next clip. Having removed the handlebars, grips, etc., I discovered that the replacement handlebars wouldn't actually fit. The checkering on the bars where they clamp was incorrect, and they were slightly narrower, so this is going to be continued.